Yo, what's up? In this video I will talk about the Kia e-Niro that supposedly had some brake failure. So yeah, for you guys who don't know, let me show you now. This is a case in TV2, and I will just tell you, this video is in Norwegian, by the way. I can link it for Norwegians or Swedes or Danes, they can understand it. But I will tell you what happened roughly. This happened in August this year. And it was with an e-Niro. This is kind of weird because it's an e-tron, but that's his loaner. So he came driving, it was in the city, and then suddenly the brakes failed and he crashed. Darko is the guy. He crashed in the car in front, and he claims that the brake on the e-Niro failed. So that was the start of the plot. Let me see, I need to skip a little bit here. He has two kids. Yes, this is his loaner, the e-tron. Let me see. Yeah, okay. Then they talk about the auto braking feature, because the e-Niro has auto braking, so it will detect any possible brake, collision, and then first it will warn the user, and then it will actively brake for you to prevent any accidents, or at least mitigate accidents. And the auto braking didn't work for some reason. And there's also a little bit, okay, and then there is a Kia Ensure where he bought the car from. I'm just skip here. And they had a little, let me see what else was happening here. Sorry for the skipping. Yeah, that was the location, by the way, where it happened. But I will also show you. I can show you later the location. I went there to film it today. Okay, here's the e-Niro with the damage. And he contacted Kia after this incident. And Kia, they took in the car and they investigated the system, the brake system, and they didn't find any problems at all. And also they talk about the auto braking system. And also we have Benny here from TV2, or Brom, yeah, it's part of TV2, Brom. So he also has some expert commentary about the car's auto braking system. That some systems like the BMW and the Volvo is really good. He didn't mention Tesla though. Tesla is also really good. And then he mentioned that some other systems are bad because they only work until well, they don't work below 10 kilometers per hour. I will come back to the whole auto braking and the 10 kilometers per hour limit that it has. But also some videos on the internet that auto braking didn't work, and yeah, so the auto braking for some reason didn't work here. And then, okay, let me just skip here. Yeah, there was supposedly a lady on the e-Niro group also had a problem with braking, and she actually hit two elderly women, but they were at low speed, so nothing critical. But and then let me see. Yeah, and then also one thing that was mentioned is that Darko, he had high tire pressure, really high tire pressure. It's supposed to be 36 psi. He had 44 for some reason. And Kia mentions that if you have too high tire pressure, it could trick the car's ABS system to think that it is slipping, and then it will not brake when it will activate ABS. That's what Kia claims as one possible explanation why it didn't brake. But then Benny from Brom, he claims that those are two different systems, and it shouldn't really matter really in this case. So the car should still brake. And then skip here because I'm skipping through to remember what happened. Yeah, and then he also mentioned that, okay, yeah, he has some moral issues about selling the car. He doesn't want to use the e-Niro again. But then if he sells the car to the next person, what's going to happen then? You know, if the brake failure happens there. So is it wise to sell a car that could possibly cause any fatalities? Okay, he didn't say that, but you know, you get my point, right? And then Kia, so they have an interview, TV2 interviewed Kia and Darko, and this was actually a very long interview, but it was cut to be really short. You can see that the video is just 10 minutes long. And Kia, they mentioned that this is a parallel import car, and talk about that. I will also come back to that. They had a little interview here, and then TV2, they were very focused on the whole auto braking, and that did you know, TV2 asked, did you know that the auto braking doesn't work below 10 kilometers per hour? And Darko said no, and asked Kia, did you know about it? And say, well, yeah, but we should have told about it, and it's in the manual somewhere, and they were talking about the manual, that it's a big fat manual, and where is it? And the Kia says, well, we don't know, it's in there somewhere, maybe we should have it in the instruction video. So they're very focused on the whole auto braking system throughout this video. And then the end of the story, supposedly how it is presented by TV2, is that, let me just skip here a little bit. So like they say, we have great news for Darko. The company that he bought the car from, they claim they can sell the car for 385,000. Look, I forgot to mention that detail. When they were talking with the Kia offered to buy the car for 350K. He bought it for 430K. Yeah, so 430 was his buying price, and Kia could only offer 350K, and that was too low. That was 80K loss for Darko, so he couldn't accept that. But then suddenly there was a new outcome, and then the company that sold the car to him, it's a parallel import, and it turns out it's Gran Auto. Yeah, you know Gran Auto Design, the company that did the wrap and the stuff for my car. They also sell cars, and they claim that they can sell the car, his kaput car, for 385K. And then he's like, yes, great news. And also the lady here asked him, yeah, so now you can finally buy a new car. And he's like, yeah, great. And we're gonna buy a Kia? No Kia next time. And that is the end of the story, the way TV2 presented it. Like, happy, well, I was about to say happy ending, but it turns out to be great, and he's happy, and then TV2 is happy to, TV2 Hjelper Deg, which is a program, like, happy to be helping this poor guy, and that's the end of the video. So if you guys, I recommend that you guys watch it to see what happened. But as you guys know, I recently borrowed an e-Niro. I took it on a trip, I did a little race, but also one part of my plan was to also test the e-Niro, because there was a few things I wanted to know about the e-Niro. So today I went to that exact location to check it out, how it was. And you see that it's a fair downhill, not super steep, but you could say significant steep-ish downhill before stoplight. And what I noticed right away was that right before the stoplight, we had a speed bump and also bumpy tarmac. No one, TV2 Broom, no one mentioned that bumpy tarmac, because in my head, oh, bumpy tarmac, if you come kind of fast there, that could cause the wheels to lose traction, and then maybe trick the system into not braking because you think you're slipping or something. So just as an experiment, I tried to fill up the tires to 45 psi. I have this measuring device to measure it, but in the car display it claims 44 psi. Close enough. I don't remember how many bar that is, but the recommended is only 36 psi. So the tires were quite overinflated, and then I drove over the bumps 2 times to try to see if the brake would fail or something, if I would get some kind of ABS issue or something. No problem, both times, and I didn't feel like repeating it too many times. So and also when I talked to the mechanics, or actually it was some engineers at Kia, they could tell me that they investigated this, they checked the brakes thoroughly. They couldn't find any issues, and if the brakes would fail, it will show some kind of error that they would see, but they didn't find any errors with this. But one thing I wanted to know is that, what about regen? So even if the brakes would fail, then regen should have saved them, because e-Niro, like many EVs, they have blending brakes, which means that when you press the brake pedal gently, you're actually not activating the physical brakes, you are just increasing the regen up to a certain point where the physical brakes kicks in. So it means that even if, given case here, if the brake discs were covered with ice, unlikely in August, hot August day, but if we cover the brake disc and brake pads with oil, the car should still deaccelerate because it regens. And I also checked that even when you have high-ish state of charge, a Kia can regen significant enough to brake, slow down the car to the point where an impact wouldn't make that much of a damage. So the whole why regen didn't kick in is also a big mystery for me. But okay, and also when we talk about the automatic braking, so it was TV2, they focus a lot on the automatic braking, that it failed, it was bad, you know, it doesn't work below 10 kilometers per hour. But I tried to drive around with the car, and when you drive at 10 kilometers per hour, that is super slow. Humans walk at 5 kilometers per hour. So actually, I can tell you that Millennium Falcon, my Tesla Model S, was rear-ended many years ago, and I was like, oh shit, it was a van, he didn't pay attention. And then I went outside, he went outside, we checked it out, no damage, because bumpers are designed to take a little bit of impact before stuff breaks. So my claim is that below 10 kilometers per hour, the speed is so low that most likely, especially if you count in some region, you know, you shouldn't have any damage at all. And also, one very important thing I found out after talking to Kia's engineers and technicians is that the automatic braking on the e-Niro can be overridden if you press the accelerator. So which means that if you are just driving normally, you will always have a little bit of pressure on the accelerator. That overrides the automatic braking. You will still get a warning, but the car will not automatically brake. And given the, you know, I've tested that 10 kilometers per hour is so slow that nothing wouldn't happen, then most likely he was driving faster. At the impact point, it should be maybe 20-30 kilometers per hour. I don't know, just wild guess, but probably not less than 10 kilometers per hour. So, and I don't know why the TV2 really focused so much on the automatic braking, because it seems to be almost irrelevant, and they never mentioned that the automatic braking could be overwritten by pressing the accelerator. No one mentioned it in that video. And then, okay, let's talk a little bit about logging then. So I mentioned that Kia, you know, they didn't find any errors with any issues with the brakes. Brakes is very well thought of. It's all technology. It just works, you know, and they didn't find anything. Unfortunately, Kia doesn't, the car itself, you know, doesn't log as extensively as a Tesla, because you guys have seen in the past, whenever a Tesla suddenly accelerates into a wall or something, into a tree, what happened? Tesla can actually see in the log that the user pressed the accelerator 100% right before the impact point, stuff like that, you know. And in many cases, the driver mistook the accelerator for the brake. But Tesla can tell you that because they log extensively. Kia doesn't do it unless there is a fault, then it will log it. And this time there was no fault, so they didn't log anything, unfortunately. And also Darko and the van driver that was hit didn't have dash cam, so we can't really see what happened. There is really no hard proof that the brakes on the Kia fail. That's what we have seen so far, what we can most likely conclude now. And then what happened with the whole case with the damage and everything? Well, Darko, he had to, the insurance company also went to Kia and had a 1-hour meeting with Kia to get some insight about what they found in the car, and Kia didn't find any problems. So the insurance company actually gave Darko the blame here because he rear-ended a car in front of him. So Darko is kind of like stuck here. He has his claim that the car didn't break, and then he has to pay. There was a deductible for the insurance part, because he had to pay for the. I mean, the insurance company had to pay for the damage on the Kia plus the van that he ran into, and then so he had to pay deductible, and also Darko had to lose some bonus. That's the way it works. And also I should mention that okay, parallel import. This car was parallel imported, and in the interview you can watch in the video with TV2, Kia, they claim that, you know, this is a parallel imported car, and parallel imported car lacks features, yeah, so lacks maybe some important features, which is true very commonly. Okay, I can tell you this car was imported from France because the manual was in French, and down there in France, maybe down in Toulouse, you don't need heat pump and you don't need battery heater, and it's very common that imported cars from other places, they don't have a battery heater or heat pump, but those two things are not relevant. Brakes are very important equipment. So what Kia tells you about, it lacks features, this is parallel import, almost like, hey, it's not our car really, it's parallel import, don't trust it, almost like that. You can kind of get the wrong impression, but brakes are so important that it's irrelevant to talk about the parallel import. But I also talked to Gran Auto Design today, or Gran Auto, about this, and they had lots of stuff to tell me about this car. But they told me that they have sold around 100 e-Niros, and every owner is super happy and they have no problem. And Darko, he bought the car from Gran Auto and he has only driven it a couple of months. And I think it was around 2,000 kilometers on the odometer once it happened. So, we don't have a case here where the brakes have gone through a winter and the brakes fail for some reason because of rust or corrosion. This is almost a brand new car and the brakes should be working 100%. So, and also Kia Norway, and then why are they even involved in this? Because this is parallel import. Gran Auto should take the responsibility for the car, right? And actually, no, the rules are like Kia, they are still responsible for the warranty and all this stuff. So they have to check it. That's the rule from what I've heard. And how was the outcome then from this case? Well, you guys saw the video, right? TV2, everything was happy. I mean, everyone was happy. They found a solution, they're gonna sell it for 385k. Well, when I talked to Gran Auto, they haven't sold it yet. They haven't found a buyer. They haven't put the e-Niro for sale yet. And it's been a while now since this happened. Gran Auto told me that they're waiting for a go signal from Kia about something that, okay, this car has been checked by Kia. They can document it's 100%. It's safe to sell it. There is no problem with the brakes, something like that. So it's still not sold, yeah. But TV2 hjelper they made it look like everything was happy. They found a buyer and something. So that was a bit weird how they could just do it like that. And if you don't know this case, if you didn't talk to Gran Auto, you would think that the case was closed and the car was sold, but it wasn't. And actually, Gran Auto, okay, TV2, they have contacted Gran Auto many times about this. Gran Auto, they don't want to be in the video. They don't want to be interviewed not because they have anything to hide. They just imported the car and they sold lots of cars, and then suddenly this one's supposed to have a problem. But in the end, it's Kia who has all the technicians who can investigate if there was something technical wrong with the car. But Gran Auto has told TV2 long time ago during the whole process here that, okay, they can probably resell it for 385. Remember, it was originally sold for 430 was the initial price. And Gran Auto said they can probably resell it for 385, and then Kia could buy it for 350. But this was old news, what Gran Auto told TV2, and then somehow TV2 kind of made, I don't know, just watching the video, it could suddenly look like great news. Suddenly you can probably get 385k for it. So that was a bit weird to me, yeah. I'm not gonna accuse anyone. And then one thing I also have to point out is that during that video, Darko, he said that he had some moral issues about selling this car, because if it has a flaw, a braking fault, then is it really wise to sell it? Maybe we should replace the brakes completely, something like that, or not sell it to anyone. It could lead to an accident. So yeah, I agree. But then why, by the end of the video, was it suddenly okay to get 385k for it? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I also should mention that TV2 actually, from what I remember, TV2 had a 45-minute interview with Kia. It was a very long interview. Okay, maybe it wasn't that long. Don't take me on it, but it was a very long interview with Kia and Dodge, and they cut out lots of information. So I also talked to Kia about this. Kia had lots of useful information about how they investigated in this, what they found, all of that, but you only saw the tip of the iceberg from that interview. The rest was just cut out for some reason. So, two possible reasons why this crash happened. One reason is that the brakes fail in a very mysterious way that didn't leave any traces, and also, as a coincidence, the regen for some reason didn't work. So even if you have even if you use no regen, the blending brake should have activated some regen, but it was just a very weird way of failing the brakes without leaving any traces. And then the second possible reason why it failed was that, or why he crashed, was that he wasn't paying attention. Maybe he was on the phone or something. And then because he also pushed the accelerator, then you disable auto braking, and that's reason number two that he crashed. So those are the only two reasons I could find after trying out the car and based on what I know about the Kia. So I don't know what you guys think, but could it be something else that happened? But I wanted to investigate in this because when bad news comes up with EVs, then people get the wrong impression, because this was shared in an EV group in Norway, and there was already one guy who said that he has a reservation for e-Niro, but he wanted to cancel it because these cars are dangerous. And I just want to know, are they really dangerous? But it seems like I didn't really find the answer. To me, it's a little bit unsolved. But just to make it clear here, I was not paid by Kia to do this. I wanted to do this out of my own curiosity, and I was not paid by Grand Auto Design, or no one hired me to do this. I'm an independent reviewer, vlogger, whatever. That's how it rolls. I think that's gonna be it. Yeah. What do you guys think? What happened? What could have caused this? Maybe you guys also own an e-Niro or a Korean car, and maybe you also had a similar experience, bad experience. So in that case, please let me know, or please let me know what you guys think happened with this case, why the car suddenly crashed. Yeah, anyway, I think that's gonna be it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later.